This is November 1, Delta, Uniform Charlie, calling CQ, Parks on the Air, and standing by. CQ Field Day, CQ Field Day. This is November 1, Delta, Uniform Charlie. Hello, everyone. This is Junie, N1DUC, and we're going to be going through how to get your amateur radio license the quick and easy way. So to do so, let's start with a website that will help. It's called hamstudy.org. Some of you may be familiar with it. So here's hamstudy.org. You go ahead and just kind of check it out. So you're going to have to get an account, and you just go ahead and make an account over here. It shows my call sign because I've already made an account. And then let's find a session. So we go through the session. There's in-person and remote. So if you're doing in-person, you're going to want to look at your location here. So you can choose a location, then you can find an exam locally. Now, if you go to the VECs, so let's do remote. This is the volunteer exam coordinators. And I actually did mine through GLARC, Greater Los Angeles Amateur Radio Group. So I clicked on GLARC, and this shows you what exams that they have coming up. So let's see. Let's go to May 6th, which is about 2 weeks from now. So May 6th, we're going to have an exam. You can go ahead and sign up for it. I highly recommend signing up for an exam ahead of your study sessions because it forces you to have to study to get there. Okay, so May 6th. Now, what's really cool about the Greater Los Angeles Amateur Radio Group, they offer free exams, so you don't have to pay the $10 if you're a youth, a student with a current ID, active duty military veterans. They sometimes do first responders and teachers, so just check for that before you go and take the exam and let them know. All right, so May 6th, that's when we're going to test and everything. So HamStudy has so you find your session. You can go back to hamstudy.org, and you want to click on the technician class if that's where you're going to be starting. So there's technician, general, and extra. Those are the study pools. So I'm going to click on technician, and this kind of shows you what they have available for you for studying. Now, I would go to the read questions section, and it shows you the different sections for each one. So there's sections 1 through 10, or 1 through 0. And it shows you how many questions are in each section. And then they have subsections. So in this case, we're in like chapter 1, section 1A. Okay. And then the questions will be here, and they will only highlight the correct answers. So that's why you want to study those correct answers. So, all right, we're getting started. How am I going to study? How am I going to remember? Well, let's start making a notebook. So this website shows you they have practice tests, which does the entire exam pool if you want to take those, or you could do study mode. Once you have learned some of the questions, you can do section by section study mode, where you can go through and study those and make sure that you're getting them right. Okay, so here's the other option you have, and this is what I recommend. You get a notebook, okay? And it's for this, in this case, it's the technician study sections, okay? So we're going to start on 4/20, which is tomorrow. Going to start 4/20, and let's see, we have 35 sections and a total of 15 days to study, and I'm leaving 1 day, that's 5/5, for all the sections to study, okay? But you have 35 sections, that equates to 2.33 sections. Well, I divvied it up the way that I would based upon the content. So your first day, yay, we're going to get studying. Well, how am I going to study? Okay, I have hamstudy.org, but maybe there might be another way to study that's a little bit easier. So there's an app, the Ham Radio Exam app. Now they have technician, general, and extra class. In this case, we're doing technician class. So each section you can write down in your notebook. So, okay, I wrote this down all ahead of time, and I go, okay, I'm going to study sections T1A and T1B on 4/20. Okay, so I study the questions, I take the quiz, I get 100 on the quiz. Yes, got 100. Now, okay, First time I take it, I got an 80. So I'm going to restudy those study questions and then take the quiz again. I got 100. Great. Now I can move on to the next one. So as I keep getting hundreds, that's when I move on to the next section. Well, on 421, man, I just learned all about T1A and T1B. Let's see how I do on that. So you're going to want to repeat your section. So for example, okay, it's 421, it's right before bedtime, or I'm at a doctor's appointment, I have some time to study. Well, let me go back to T1A and T1B and get hundreds. Then I start T1C and then T1D. And as you keep doing that, you want to go back to the beginning. Now it's going to get a little tedious because as you get to T3A, you're like, oh gosh, I got to go through A, B, C, D, E, F over in the T1s. And I already know the answers. So you might want to skip that. Then you might want to repeat from T2 instead of T1 once you have all that and you've repeated it. But this will get the content in your brain. As you get to section 5 and 6, don't be scared, okay? There's going to be a lot of new terminology. Don't get scared. But these are the heavier contents. Once you start T5, T6, T7, T8, those are a little bit heavier. So that's when you might want to stop going back to these first sections and repeating themselves and start with repeating the T6s, the T7s, the T8s, okay? So as you're getting all these hundreds, you're marking it down. We're getting closer to the exam date. All right, study day. Now that's when, just like hamstudy.org has it, this app also has it, where you can take exams. Now you could do this the entire time. If you want to take an exam that has the entire question pool, go ahead. But I think it's good to wait until you've gone through at least all the questions before taking the full exam. And I will go through what this looks like. So there you go. You just downloaded your app. You're all happy. We're going through. Okay, let's study the correct answers. We'll go to section T1A. Okay, this notebook. Why do I have a notebook, right? Well, there are some questions that might throw you off on the exam, and I'm going to help you with that. So in this case, it's which agency regulates and enforces the rules for amateur radio service in the United States. Now, notice that the FCC is the answer, but there's all these choices are correct. Now, those are the ones that might throw you off. So in your notebook, what you're going to write is T1A, A2, which agency regulates, you're going to just repeat the question and you write down the answer as the FCC. So for any of the questions that have all these choices are correct in the answer pool, go ahead and write down the one that is not all of the choices are correct. So that's the FCC. There will be multiple questions like that. Now, if the answer is all of the above, just note what those answers are, but try not to memorize the all of the above questions because then your mind is just going to go crazy because there's a lot of content here. So the next section, these are the other questions that I recommend you write down. Besides maybe questions that you personally just cannot remember and it's just really difficult, add those questions to the pool too. So T1B, which of the following frequency ranges are available for phone operation by technician licensees, right? So there's numbers in the answer. If you have any question with numbers in the answer, you're going to go back and you're going to write down which of the following frequencies and then give the answer with the numbers. It's very important you do this because there's going to be a lot of numbers answers. Now, when you get into resistors and capacitors and all that stuff, you may find that very confusing. I found it very confusing since I didn't go to a club necessarily and learn the content with people. I took the exam, I studied, and then afterwards I went to people and chatted with them. So at these clubs, you might find it a little bit easier to maybe take those classes with them, or you may want to take the exam and come to them and say, hey, I'm interested in becoming involved in amateur radio. I have some questions, from taking my technician exam. And there are people called Elmers that are mentors to help you. They've been in the amateur radio world for quite some time, and they usually have a wealth of knowledge that you can ask for. Okay, so we're going to go back to the main screen on the app. I used to do these during doctor's appointments, like when I'm in the waiting room or right before bed. That was when I would study those questions and everything. Yes, amateur radio before bed might give you some amateur radio dreams, but you'll get through it. You'll get through it. All right, so we studied the correct answers. We took the section quizzes, and let's see, we're at May 5th now. We are ready. We are about to take the exam. Let's take sample tests. So you're going to click on Take Sample Tests, and it's going to bring you to looks like, there we go. Okay, so what is impedance, right? And this is a question, T5C12. So that's just a random question. And as you go through these, they're only giving you 35 questions for the quiz. As you go through these, you're going to see how well you studied, okay? So we will, hold on. I think my computer is freezing up. There we go. So let's go back to the first section. Now up here, there are these 3 dots, and you can click on those dots. And what it's going to do, oh yeah, before I go into that, now past results and recommendations. So this will actually tell you how well you did and what your stats are, okay? And remember those 3 dots up there? Yeah, you're going to want to click on those and go to about this app. Okay, this is kind of important. So before you start anything with this app, make sure you have the current question pool. So in this case, thank you, Roy Watson and one ZTL for doing this, making this app, because I passed my exams because of this. hamstudy.org as well, that it was very helpful. So valid from 7/1/2022. I think we're good. We're in the right question pool until 2026. And once again, I will repeat myself. If you are going to learn from a book instead of doing the apps, you want to make sure you have the current book, the current question pool book, because some people will sell the old question pools and you will miss some questions on your exam. So go ahead and make sure you do that. All righty. Well, I think that is it. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, I am always here at hamandquackers@gmail.com. You can go ahead and email me there. You can check out our website at www.hamandquackers.com. That's where you'll find some of the content that we have. We're still working on the website, but we're a new channel, so we're still learning. Well, have a wonderful day. Quack quack and 73.